In 2020, a young couple, Erin and David Lin, moved into a small rental home outside Portland. Old hardwood floors, thin walls, a yard full of overgrown blackberry vines. The house had been empty for 6 months. The landlord said the previous tenants left suddenly. No explanation, just packed up and disappeared one weekend. The rent was cheap. The location was good. Erin and David didn't ask questions. While cleaning the attic on their second day, David found an old television, a 1989 Zenith console set. Heavy, dusty, not plugged into anything. It sat in the corner beneath a tarp, like someone had hidden it there and forgotten about it. They brought it downstairs for fun. David plugged it in. The screen flickered, then settled into a soft, gray hum. Static. Just static. But sometimes, only for a second, the static shifted and showed their living room, exactly as it looked in that moment, even when they were watching from the kitchen, even when the living room was empty. At first, Erin thought it was interference. Maybe it's picking up reflections, signals bouncing off something? Except the TV wasn't connected to cable, or an antenna, or even power lines. It ran through a heavy converter box older than both of them. David checked the manual. The TV was analog. It shouldn't display anything without a signal. But every night at 2:13 a.m., the static shifted. A chair in the wrong place. A coat draped differently over the sofa. Sometimes a light was on that neither of them had touched. It was their house. Yes. But never exactly the way they left it. They tried testing it. They placed a broom across the floor before bed. David set an alarm for 2:13 a.m. When it rang, he went downstairs. The living room was dark, silent. The broom was still in place, exactly where they'd left it. He turned on the TV, static. Then the image formed, their living room. But on the screen, the broom had been moved, shifted gently to the side, as if someone had stepped over it. David checked the house, doors locked, windows sealed, alarm on. Nothing disturbed, except the TV showed otherwise. David connected the old TV's output to a modern DVR so it could record overnight. The next morning, he watched the footage. For the first hour, static. Then at 2:13 a.m., the picture formed. The living room. Empty. Dim light from the hallway. Then, movement. Small things at first. A pillow turning slightly, a blanket shifting as if something brushed it. The curtain pulling inward without breeze. David leaned closer to the screen. At 2:15 a.m., a book on the coffee table slid 3 inches to the left. No vibration, no wind. It just moved. But at 2:16 a.m., something changed. The camera angle didn't move. The static didn't clear. But David's eyes caught something in the grain of the picture. A shadow, behind the couch, too tall to be furniture, too still to be a trick of light. David paused the frame, zoomed in. It was a figure, standing there, facing the TV, facing him. David's hand froze on the keyboard. His breath caught, because something about the posture, the angle of the head, made it clear. The figure wasn't just in the room. It was watching the recording, watching him watch. Erin refused to watch the rest. It's a glitch. It's pareidolia. But that night, when David turned the TV back on, the figure was there again, closer, near the hallway this time, not approaching, just watching, always watching. The next night, it was in the kitchen doorway. The night after, standing beside the stairs. Each night, a little closer. Erin finally agreed to watch a second night's recording. This time, something different happened. At 2:13 a.m., the TV showed the living room again. But something was wrong. The clock on the wall, barely visible in frame, read 6:47 p.m. David checked the DVR timestamp. Recording time, 2:13 a.m. But the content on screen was 16 hours in the future. The TV wasn't showing the past, it was showing tomorrow. The recording showed Erin walking into the living room, wearing a green sweater. Erin looked at David. "I don't own a green sweater." But the next day, when she opened a package from her mother, inside was a green sweater, a gift she hadn't known was coming. At 6:47 p.m., Erin walked into the living room. Everything happened exactly as the TV had shown. She looked tired, distracted. Then she paused, turned her head, as if she heard something behind her. She whispered something they couldn't quite hear, and then the TV cut back to static. Erin watched herself on the screen in disbelief.
How is that possible? That hasn't happened yet.
David checked the timestamp 10 times. The DVR was correct. The TV had shown tomorrow. The next day, Erin tried to replicate the behavior. At 6:47 p.m., she walked into the living room wearing the green sweater. Everything happened exactly as shown. The pause, the turn, the little whisper. But when David asked what she whispered, Erin said, "I wasn't whispering. I wasn't talking at all." But the TV recording clearly showed her lips move. David played it back again, slowed it. Her whisper was faint, but unmistakable. She had said, "Don't look behind me." David felt cold run through him. "Behind you? In the video? What was there?" Erin shook her head. "I don't know. I didn't feel anything." David rewatched the footage, and this time he saw it, a faint outline. Behind Erin, taller than her, too tall to be David. It didn't move, but when she turned her head, just slightly. The figure's posture changed, its shoulders tilted, its head lowered, as if leaning down, to whisper something into the back of her neck. Erin grabbed David's arm. "Turn it off. I don't want to see anymore." But David kept watching, frame by frame. The figure stayed there for 11 seconds. Then, at the exact moment Erin turned away, it stepped back into the shadows and disappeared. Because the TV saw it. Because the TV remembered it. That night, they decided to leave the house during the 2:13 a.m. window. They booked a motel, packed a few bags, but at 1:58 a.m., the TV, unplugged, turned on by itself, static. Then, their living room, empty, except for one thing, the figure. Standing in the center of the room now, facing the front door, as if waiting for them to walk back in. Erin gasped. David grabbed the remote, but the TV didn't respond. Static crackled. Then the figure stepped closer to the camera, much closer, so close the entire screen darkened. A single frame of its face almost appeared, but the static swallowed it before they could see. Then the figure whispered. The sound distorted, crackling through decades-old circuitry. "You're early." David's blood ran cold. Early? Early for what? The screen went black. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Erin said quietly, "We're not going back." They didn't go home. Not that night. Not the next. They stayed at the motel for 3 days. When they finally returned to grab their things, the house was silent. Everything was normal, except the TV. The DVR had recorded one last video from the night they left. David opened the file. The TV on screen was playing again, and the clock visible in frame read 3 days into the future. The TV was still showing things that hadn't happened yet. The video showed the living room again. The front door opened. Erin and David walked in, the future versions of themselves. They set down their bags. Then Erin froze. She stared at the TV, directly at it, and whispered, "Turn it off!" But in the recording, David didn't move. He stood frozen, staring at the screen, as if he couldn't hear her, as if something else was holding his attention. Then he stepped closer and put his hand on the screen, and the last frame showed something impossible. His reflection in the glass. except he wasn't alone in it. Something stood behind future David. Something tall. Something leaning over him, hand on his shoulder. Something smiling. Erin closed the laptop and refused to watch the rest. David tried to copy the file to a second drive, but when he opened it, the video had changed. It no longer showed 3 days ahead. It showed tonight. And in the frame, David was sitting exactly where he sat now, watching this same recording. And behind him, the figure was already there. David spun around. The room was empty, but on the TV screen, the figure remained, standing behind where David had just been sitting, waiting. David looked back at the screen. The figure tilted its head, as if acknowledging that David finally saw it. Then the screen cut to static and never turned on again. Some televisions show what was, some show what is, and some show what's about to happen. Whether you're ready or not,